I stopped getting compliments on my haircut the year I turned 62, and it took me way too long to figure out why. I'd gone short, the way everyone tells you to after a certain age, but somewhere along the way that Pixie stopped working for me and started working against me. If you're wearing a Pixie cut right now, there's a real chance it's doing one of 7 things that are quietly aging you every time you walk out the door. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 60, so you get real results fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, because I cover this every single week. Part 1. The buzz cut sides that age your whole face. Here's something most stylists won't say out loud. A Pixie cut sheared too close on the sides doesn't just look severe, it actually pulls attention straight to every soft place along your jaw and neck. There's no hair there to soften the transition, so your eye goes right to the skin instead. I sat with that thought for a long time before I said it to my own stylist, because it felt like criticizing something I thought I loved. The recognition comes fast once you see it. You look in the mirror after a fresh cut and something feels off, but you can't name it. It's not the color, it's not your makeup, it's that the sides are cut so short they've turned into a frame with nothing soft left in it. A lot of women blame their skin or their age for that harshness. It was never the skin. It was the scissors. The fix is called graduated side layering, and it's specific enough that you can say the exact words to your stylist. Ask for the sides to be point cut rather than clipper faded, leaving at least ½ inch of length that schemes the top of the ear instead of exposing the skin above it. Point cutting breaks up the hard edge that a straight clipper line leaves behind, so the hair has natural, soft movement instead of a stark boundary. That ½ inch matters more than it sounds like it should. It's the difference between hair that frames you and hair that exposes you. Here's what changes when you make this one adjustment. The moment that softness returns along the sides, the eye stops snagging on your jawline and starts reading your whole face as one connected shape again. Women tell me they start getting asked if they've lost weight, when nothing about their face actually changed, only the hair around it did. That's the snapback. It's not a smaller face. It's a softer frame around the same beautiful face you've always had. I think about a woman named Carol who wrote to me after trying this. She'd worn the same severe Pixie for 4 years because a stylist told her once it was low maintenance, and she believed that meant it was also flattering. Those are 2 different things. Low maintenance and flattering are not the same promise, and nobody had ever told her that distinction existed. The day she asked for point-cut sides instead of a clipper fade, she said her husband noticed before she even said anything. The before and after here is stark once you see it side by side. Before, the sides are shaved close to the skin, a hard, exposed line running from ear to jaw. After, the sides carry soft, point-cut layers that skim the ear and blend gently into the length above, no hard edge anywhere. Same haircut length overall. Completely different feeling on the face. If you thought that first mistake was subtle, wait until you hear what's happening at your crown, because this next one is even easier to miss in the mirror, and even more obvious to everyone standing across from you. Most women assume a Pixie means volume is automatic. It isn't. Short hair actually requires more deliberate root work than long hair does, not less, because there's nowhere for volume to hide once the length is gone. When the crown falls flat, the whole cut reads tired even on a great hair day. You'll recognize this one by the specific frustration of it. You style your Pixie in the morning, it looks full and lifted, and by early afternoon the crown has quietly gone flat against your scalp. You assume it's your hair type or the weather. Sometimes it's neither. It's that the cut itself wasn't built with enough internal structure at the root to hold shape past the first few hours. The specific fix is root lift layering combined with a diagonal fringe of the crown panel. Ask your stylist for this exact phrase. Internal layers cut on a diagonal at the crown, not straight across. A straight horizontal cut at the crown lies flat by nature, because every strand ends at the same length and has nowhere to push against. A diagonal cut creates strands of slightly different lengths stacked against each other. And that stacking is what physically holds lift once you style it, hours after your morning routine is done. This is the part where the result becomes visible to everyone else before it becomes visible to you. You stop doing the midday check in your car mirror to smooth the crown back down, because there's nothing left to smooth. People start describing your haircut as bouncy or full. Words that never applied to you before, and you didn't change your styling routine at all. You changed the architecture underneath it. I remember a woman at a family wedding telling me her sister asked what new product she was using, and the honest answer was none. She hadn't touched her routine. The cut itself had simply been rebuilt to hold what her styling was already trying to give it. Before, a flat, compressed crown that looks pressed down by midday no matter how it started that morning. After, a lifted, diagonally layered crown that holds volume and shape for the entire day without a single extra product. Once your crown holds shape and your sides have softened, there's still one place most women completely forget to check, and it's the one place that changes your whole profile the second you turn your head. That place is the nape, the back of your neck just below the hairline. Most Pixie consultations focus entirely on the front and top, because that's what you see in the mirror every morning. Nobody's checking the back, which means it's often the most neglected, over-clippered part of the entire cut. You'll know this mistake by what happens in photos. Someone takes a picture of you from behind or at an angle, and the nape looks stubbly, almost military, completely disconnected from the softer styling happening at the front. It's jarring in a way that's hard to explain until you see it captured. The fix is asking specifically for a tapered, blended nape rather than a clean clipper line. Say this to your stylist. Taper the nape with scissors over comb, don't clipper it to skin. A scissor over comb taper leaves a soft gradient of length rather than an abrupt stop, so the back of your neck reads as intentional and elegant rather than accidentally shaved. This single request changes how your whole head reads in profile and from behind, which matters every time you're photographed, hugged, or simply turn to talk to someone beside you. The payoff shows up in the moments you don't control, the candid photos, the turned head conversations, the view someone else has that you never see yourself. Instead of a jarring shift from soft to stubbly, your whole head reads as one cohesive, elegant shape from every single angle. That consistency is what separates a haircut that looks professionally finished from one that only looks finished from the front. Before, a stark, clipper-shaved nape with an abrupt hard line at the hairline. After, a soft scissor-tapered nape that blends gradually into the neck with no visible line at all. That's the first mistake fully covered, and it's the one that quietly undoes everything else about a pixie if it's wrong. Next, I want to show you the two mistakes that happen not at the barber chair, but every single morning at your own bathroom counter, long after you've already left the salon. Part 2. The styling mistakes happening at your own counter. The next two mistakes don't happen in the stylist's chair at all. They happen in your bathroom, at your own hands, every single morning, which is exactly why they're so easy to miss. You can have the most perfectly cut pixie in the world, and still undo it before you've even had your coffee. The first one is over-drying the top. Most women blast a pixie completely dry with a round brush the same way they dry longer hair, pulling every section taut and smooth. On longer hair, that technique creates sleekness. On a pixie, it does the opposite. It flattens the very texture that gives a shortcut its shape, because there's no length left to compensate for lost volume once the moisture and natural bend are dried out of it. You'll recognize this by the strange contradiction of it. Your hair looks great fresh out of the shower, tousled and full, and somehow looks smaller and flatter after you've spent 10 minutes actively styling it. That's not bad luck. That's the drying technique working against the cut instead of with it. The fix is drying to 80% with your fingers, not a brush, and finishing the last 20% by scrunching upward toward the roots. Say this to yourself as a rule. Fingers for the first 80%, then push, don't pull. Pulling a brush through wet pixie hair stretches the natural bend flat before it has a chance to set. Scrunching upward while it's still slightly damp locks in lift and texture right where the cut was designed to hold it, at the root, not at the ends. This takes less time than a full blowout, not more, which is the part women are always surprised by. The result shows up within the first week of switching. The exact volume your stylist built into the cut, the volume you loved the moment you left the salon, starts showing up again every single morning instead of only on wash day. You stop chasing that fresh cut look and start actually living inside it, day after day, without needing a salon visit to get back there. A woman named Ruth told me she used to schedule her hair appointments around when she needed the volume back, as if the cut itself had an expiration date. It didn't. Her drying technique did. Before, Hair blown fully dry and smoothed flat with a round brush, texture and volume lost. After. Hair dried mostly with fingers and scrunched upward while damp, natural volume and texture fully intact. Now here's the second counter mistake, and this one is almost the opposite problem, but it causes the exact same flat, defeated look by the end of the day. Most women reach for a heavy pomade or wax on a pixie because that's what worked on longer hair, or what a magazine told them decades ago defines polished short hair. The trouble is that heavy product weighs down fine, short strands specifically, in a way it never did on longer hair, where gravity and length already did some of that weighing down work naturally. On a pixie, there's no length to absorb that weight. It sits directly on the root and crushes the lift the cut was built to have. You'll know this mistake by the afternoon slump. Your hair looks intentional and textured right after you apply product in the morning. Then by 3 in the afternoon it's gone greasy looking and completely collapsed, even though you didn't touch it all day. That's not oily hair. That's simply too much product weight, sitting on too little hair to carry it. The fix is switching to a lightweight texturizing spray or powder applied only at the roots, never a cream or wax worked through the whole head. Ask for this by name if you're buying it yourself. A root-lifting texture powder or spray, not a pomade or paste. Powder and spray formulas add grip and lift without adding weight, because they work by texturizing the strand itself rather than coating it in a heavy film. A small amount at the root does more work than a large amount through the whole cut ever will. Here's the payoff, and it's the one women notice fastest of all 7 fixes in this video. Your hair holds its shape from your morning coffee straight through to dinner, with 0 midday touch-ups, 0 trips to the restroom mirror to try to resurrect flattened volume. The cut you paid for at 9 in the morning is still the cut you're wearing at 9 that night. Before. Heavy pomade weighing down fine strands. Volume collapse by early afternoon. A greasy, flattened look. After. Lightweight root powder holding shape and texture from morning through evening with no collapse. Your styling routine at home matters, but it can only work with what the cut gives it to work with in the first place. So next, let's go back to the chair, because the fringe mistake I'm about to show you might be the single most common one on this entire list. Part 3. The fringe length that's secretly shortening your forehead. Of all 7 mistakes in this video, this is the one I see most often. And it's the one almost nobody questions because it's been the safe pixie fringe choice for decades. A short, blunt fringe cut straight across the eyebrows. Here's the surprising part. That short blunt fringe was designed decades ago for a completely different generation's face shapes and hairlines. And it does something specific as skin softens with age. It visually shortens the forehead and makes the whole face read as smaller and more compressed than it actually is. It's not that a blunt fringe looks bad. It's that it's working against a mature face rather than with one. You'll feel this recognition the moment someone shows you an old photo next to a recent one. The blunt fringe hasn't changed in 15 years, but somehow your face reads differently now than it used to under that exact same fringe shape. It's not that your face got worse. It's that the fringe stopped being the right proportion for the face underneath it. The fix is a longer, side-swept curtain fringe instead of a blunt center fringe. Say this exact phrase to your stylist. A piece-wide curtain fringe, longer at the sides, swept off-center rather than blunt across the brow. A curtain fringe elongates the space between your brow and hairline instead of compressing it. And the side-swept motion adds a diagonal line across the face that naturally softens and lifts rather than boxing it in. This single swap is often the most dramatic single change in this entire video, more noticeable than any other single fix. The result is almost immediate, and it's visible from across a room, not just up close. The moment that fringe shifts from a blunt horizontal line to a longer, swept diagonal, your whole upper face opens up. Eyes look larger. The forehead reads as proportionate instead of shortened. Women describe it as looking rested, even on days they didn't sleep well, because the fringe is doing visual work that used to fall entirely on makeup or sleep. A friend of mine held onto her blunt fringe for almost a decade because she was terrified that changing it meant losing her look, the thing people recognized her by. What she found instead was that people recognized her more clearly once the fringe stopped fighting her face, not less. Her look had never been the blunt line. It had always been her, and the fringe was simply getting in the way of that. This fix also solves a second problem almost nobody mentions. A blunt fringe requires trimming every 2 to 3 weeks to stay sharp, or it grows out looking scraggly and uneven fast. A longer, piece-wide curtain fringe grows out gracefully, softening naturally over weeks instead of needing constant maintenance to look intentional. You get a better proportion and less upkeep from the exact same haircut appointment. Before, a short, blunt fringe cut straight across the brow, compressing the forehead and requiring frequent trims. After, a longer, piece-wide curtain fringe swept to the side, elongating the face and growing out gracefully. There's one more thing worth saying about this particular fix, because it changes how you experience the haircut day to day, not just how it photographs. A blunt fringe has one single way it can fall, straight down, which means one single way it can look wrong if it's humid, if you slept on it strangely, if you're in a hurry. A curtain fringe has range. It can be swept fully to the side for a polished day, left slightly looser for a casual one, tucked behind one ear entirely if you want your whole face open. That flexibility means fewer bad hair days, not because your hair changed, but because the fringe finally has more than one way to succeed. I want to be honest that this is the fix people hesitate on longest, because fringe feels permanent in a way other cuts don't, growing out visibly and awkwardly if you regret it. But a curtain fringe is uniquely forgiving during growth, which removes most of that fear before you even sit in the chair. Once your forehead has room to breathe and your whole upper face opens up, there's a very different problem waiting at the crown. One that has nothing to do with length and everything to do with a color mistake almost every woman over 60 makes without realizing it. Part 4. The color mistakes that make your pixie look harsh. We're covering 2 color-related mistakes in this part, and both of them explain something you've probably felt but never quite named. Why the exact same haircut can look either soft and flattering, or harsh and severe, depending entirely on what's happening with the color underneath it. The first mistake is going too dark and too solid all over. As skin naturally softens and loses some of its own contrast with age, a flat, uniform dark color, especially close to the scalp on a short cut where there's nowhere for it to blend, creates a stark, high-contrast line between hair and skin that can look severe rather than polished. This isn't about avoiding dark hair altogether. It's about avoiding flat, uniform dark hair with zero variation in it. You'll recognize this one in photographs more than in the mirror, because mirrors don't always show contrast the way a camera does. Someone takes your photo and the hair reads almost like a solid cap, disconnected from your skin tone in a way that feels harsher than how you experience your own reflection every morning. The fix is asking for lowlights or soft face-framing highlights woven through the darker base, never a flat single-process color on a pixie. Say this to your colorist. I want dimension, not just coverage, lowlights and highlights blended through, not one flat shade. Dimension breaks up that solid cap effect by creating subtle variation in how light hits different pieces of hair, which softens the line between hair and skin instead of hardening it. Even 3 or 4 shades of variation, barely noticeable up close, changes how the whole cut reads from a normal conversational distance. The payoff here is specific and immediate. That harsh, disconnected look in photos disappears, replaced by hair that looks rich and intentional rather than flat and severe. Women often tell me this is the fix that finally made their pixie look done, in a way it never quite did before, even though the length and shape never changed at all. The second color mistake sits at the opposite end of the spectrum, and it's just as common. Going fully, flatly gray or silver all at once with no transitional tones woven through, particularly right at the root where regrowth is most visible. A solid, single-tone gray on very short hair can read as flat and matte under most indoor lighting, the same way solid dark color does, just from the other direction. Without any variation, gray hair on a pixie can lose the dimension and shine that makes gray hair look genuinely luminous rather than simply pale. You'll know this mistake by a specific comment pattern. People tell you your hair looks nice in a polite, general way, but nobody uses words like luminous or shiny to describe it, because there's no light-catching variation in the color for those words to apply to. The fix here is a gloss treatment specifically designed for gray hair, applied every 6 to 8 weeks, that adds a subtle, translucent sheen without altering the actual gray tone underneath. Ask for this exact service by name. A clear or silver tone gloss gray gloss, not a dye, just a shine treatment. A gloss coats the hair shaft with a thin reflective layer, which is what creates that luminous, almost glass-like shine you see on gray hair that looks intentionally styled rather than simply undyed. It doesn't change your gray. It makes your gray look expensive. The result of this fix is the one women say surprises them most, because it feels almost too simple to work as well as it does. That flat, matte quality disappears, replaced by a gray that catches light and looks deliberately silver rather than accidentally faded. It's a 15-minute add-on to a regular appointment that changes how the entire cut reads under any lighting, indoors or out. Before, solid, matte gray with zero light-catching dimension, especially visible at the root. After, glossed, luminous gray with subtle shine and reflective dimension throughout. We've covered the cut, the styling, the fringe, and the color. There's exactly one mistake left, and it might be the sneakiest one of all, because it has nothing to do with your hair, and everything to do with how often you're willing to see your stylist. Part 5. The appointment schedule that's quietly ruining your shape. Here's the last mistake, and it's the one that undoes every single fix we've already talked about if you get it wrong. Stretching your Pixie appointments out to 6 or 8 weeks, the same schedule you might have used for longer hair, because a Pixie feels like it should be lower maintenance. That assumption is backwards. A Pixie is built entirely on precise shape, and short hair grows out of that shape far faster than long hair ever shows its growth, simply because there's so little length to begin with. An inch of growth on hair that's already only 2 or 3 inches long changes the entire proportion of the cut. That same inch on shoulder-length hair barely registers at all. You'll feel this mistake happening in the 2 or 3 weeks before an appointment you kept putting off. The cut you loved on day 1 slowly stops looking like itself. The sides get heavy. The shape at the crown softens into something shapeless rather than intentionally soft, and the whole Pixie starts drifting toward looking like an unstyled bob instead of the sharp, intentional cut you started with. It's not that your hair changed overnight. It's that you crossed the growth threshold where a Pixie stops being a Pixie and just becomes hair without a clear shape. The fix is a strict 3 to 4 week rebooking schedule, no exceptions, and specifically asking for a shape refresh rather than a full cut at every other visit. Say this to your stylist when you book. I want a shape refresh every 3 to 4 weeks, just cleaning up the lines, not a full restyle each time. A shape refresh is quick, usually 15 to 20 minutes, and it only tidies the specific areas that grow fastest, the nape and the sides, rather than reworking the whole head. It costs less than a full cut and takes less of your time, while keeping the sharp shape intact continuously instead of letting it degrade, and then correcting it after the fact. This is the fix with the longest lasting payoff of anything in this video, because it protects every other fix we've covered. The soft side stays soft instead of growing heavy. The lifted crown stays lifted instead of softening into shapelessness. The curtain fringe stays swept and precise instead of drooping past its intended length. One consistent scheduling habit is what makes every other correction in this video actually last, week after week, instead of slowly reverting back to where you started. A woman once told me she thought of her Pixie like a hedge that needs regular trimming to hold its shape, not like a lawn you can let grow a little before mowing. I love that comparison because it's exactly right. A Pixie isn't forgiving of neglect the way longer styles are. It rewards consistency in a very specific, visible way, and it punishes inconsistency just as visibly. There's a financial argument here too, one most women don't consider until it's pointed out. A quick shape refresh every 3 to 4 weeks, at a lower price point than a full cut, actually costs less over a year than letting the cut grow out for 8 weeks, and then needing a more dramatic, more expensive corrective cut to bring it back into shape. Maintenance is cheaper than correction, every single time. Before, an overgrown Pixie with heavy sides and a softened, shapeless crown, 6 to 8 weeks past its last appointment. After, a crisp, precisely maintained Pixie with defined sides and lifted crown, exactly as it looked the day it was first cut. That's all 7 mistakes, and if even one of them sounded familiar, you now know exactly what words to bring to your next appointment to fix it. You now know exactly what to say to fix every part of a Pixie cut that's working against you, from the sides to the crown to the fringe to the color to the calendar on your fridge. That's not a small thing. That's the exact language that separates a Pixie that ages you from one that makes people ask what you've changed. Tell me in the comments, which of these 7 mistakes did you recognize in your own mirror? Next week I'm breaking down the shag cut mistakes that make fine hair look even thinner, so you'll want to be here for that one. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.